A recent study found that you, the consumer, are psychologically wired to ignore a full dollar in future costs just to save as little as 16 cents today. Is your brain making this exact mistake with your car? The decision to lease or buy a car feels like a simple math problem. You compare the monthly payment, the down payment, and the length of the term. But it's not a math problem, it's a brain problem. The entire process, from the showroom floor to the financing office, is a minefield of cognitive biases designed to separate you from your money by exploiting the predictable, irrational shortcuts your mind takes every single day. This isn't about spreadsheets. It's about understanding the mental traps that make a bad deal feel like a good one. In the next 17 minutes, you're not going to learn how to fill out a loan application. You are going to learn how to spot and defeat the 4 most powerful psychological traps that dealerships and car manufacturers use to steer your choice. We will dissect the science of financial myopia, the illusion of ownership, the fear of future loss, and the treadmill of temporary happiness. By the end, you won't just know the difference between leasing and buying. You'll understand the hidden mental architecture that governs your most expensive financial decisions. The central battleground for your wallet is a phenomenon called present bias discounting, or more simply, financial myopia. It's the powerful instinctual tendency to overvalue immediate rewards and undervalue long-term costs. Your brain is not naturally equipped to feel the pain of a cost that's 3, 5, or 10 years away, but it feels the pleasure of a lower monthly payment right now, intensely. This single bias is the bedrock of the entire car leasing industry, turning a higher total cost into an irresistible monthly bargain. Don't just take my word for it. A landmark 2007 study by Dasgupta, Siddharth, and Silva Riso confirmed this myopia in action. They analyzed consumer vehicle choices and found a consistent, powerful preference for contracts with lower monthly payments, even when those contracts had a significantly higher total cost. Further research from 2006 found that the top 2 reasons people cited for leasing were lower monthly payments, at 38%, and a low down payment, at 30%. Your brain isn't weighing the total financial impact. It's laser-focused on minimizing the immediate cash outflow, the pain it has to feel this month. The second powerful force at play is the endowment effect. This is a cognitive glitch discovered by behavioral economists where you ascribe more value to things simply because you own them. Your used coffee mug in your mind is worth more than the identical one for sale in the store. When you buy a car, it becomes your car. It's an extension of your identity, an asset you possess. This feeling of ownership is psychologically potent. It makes every loan payment feel like an investment, a step towards true possession, building equity in something tangible and real. Leasing, on the other hand, completely short-circuits this feeling. The endowment effect makes leasing feel to your emotional brain like lighting money on fire. You're making payments, but for what? You're renting. At the end of the term, you have no asset, no equity, nothing to show for it but memories. This narrative that you are throwing money away is a direct consequence of the endowment effect's power. It frames the decision not as a calculation of transportation costs, but as a moral choice between wise investing and frivolous spending, heavily favoring the option that results in ownership regardless of the math. Tied directly to this is the third bias, loss aversion. Your brain is wired to feel the pain of a loss about twice as powerfully as the pleasure of an equivalent gain. Dealerships instinctively know how to frame the lease versus buy decision around this principle. When they sell you on buying, they emphasize what you gain: equity, an asset, the freedom to sell. When they sell you on leasing, they emphasize the losses you avoid. The loss from sudden depreciation, the loss from unexpected, out-of-warranty repair bills, the loss of being stuck with outdated technology. Your brain gets trapped in a loop. trying to choose the path with the least potential pain rather than the one with the most rational financial outcome. Finally, we arrive at the fourth and perhaps most seductive trap: hedonic adaptation, also known as the hedonic treadmill. Humans have a remarkable ability to get used to things. That initial surge of joy you get from a major purchase, like a new car, is incredibly powerful, but also incredibly fleeting. The foundational 1971 study by Brickman and Campbell found that even lottery winners weren't significantly happier than a control group in the long run. The new car smell, the perfect paint, the advanced tech. Your brain quickly normalizes these things. They become the new baseline and the happiness fades. The leasing cycle is the perfect business model for the hedonic treadmill. Just as the joy from your current car completely fades, your 3-year lease is up. You're given a tantalizing offer: turn in your old car and drive away in a brand new one with the latest technology and that intoxicating new car smell. You get to re-experience that initial peak of happiness all over again. Leasing creates a subscription to that feeling. You're not just paying for transportation, you're paying a recurring fee to chase a temporary high, a high that the psychology of adaptation guarantees will never last. It's a perfect loop of manufactured desire. So, what is the rational antidote to this cocktail of cognitive biases? It's a simple, yet rarely calculated metric: the total cost of ownership, or TCO. This is the real math. It forces you to look past the tempting monthly payment and see the entire financial picture. TCO includes the down payment, the total of all monthly payments for the loan or lease term, insurance costs, which are often higher for leased vehicles, fuel, expected maintenance and repairs, taxes, and fees. Most importantly for buyers, it subtracts the projected resale value of the car at the end of the ownership period. For leasers, it adds potential penalties for excess mileage or wear and tear. The most common way these biases trick you is by presenting the monthly payment as the tip of a giant iceberg. You see the $450 per month lease payment, and it looks small and manageable. But beneath the surface, hidden from your myopic brain, is the massive, unseen bulk of the total cost. This includes higher insurance premiums required by the leasing company, the lack of any equity, and the strict mileage caps that can lead to hefty penalties. A few cents per mile doesn't sound like much, but drive 3,000 miles over your limit at 20 cents a mile, and you've just added a surprise $600 bill to your TCO. The iceberg metaphor is perfect. The most dangerous part is the part you don't see. Let's put this myopia trap into a real-world scenario. You're at the dealership looking at a $40,000 car. The salesperson presents two options. Option A, the lease, a tempting $450 a month for 36 months with $3,000 down. Option B, the 5-year loan to buy, a daunting $700 a month with the same down payment. Your present biased brain immediately screams, "I can save $250 every single month." It focuses only on that immediate, tangible cash flow difference. It conveniently ignores that after 3 years of leasing, you will have spent $19,200 and own nothing. Meanwhile, with the loan, after those same 3 years, you would have spent $28,200. While that is $9,000 more out of pocket, you would have significant equity. The car, now 3 years old, might be worth $25,000. You've paid down a large chunk of the principal, meaning your net cost of transportation was far lower. Your brain's focus on the monthly payment completely obscures this fundamental difference in outcomes. One path is pure expense. The other is an expense mixed with the creation of a tangible, albeit depreciating, asset. The endowment effect makes you crave the asset, but present bias makes you choose the lower payment. Visualize the endowment effect in action. A person who bought their car stands next to it, proudly patting the hood. Their thought bubble says, This is mine. It's my asset. Every payment makes it more mine. They feel a sense of permanence and pride. Now, picture the same person with an identical car that they've leased. They shrug, looking at it with detachment. Their thought bubble reads, "Just a rental. The payments are like pouring water into the sand." This feeling, this psychological narrative of ownership versus renting, is immensely powerful. It can make a financially suboptimal decision, like buying a new car every 2 years, feel more correct than the financially superior one of leasing in that specific scenario. And what about that hedonic treadmill? Let's map it out. Day 1. You drive your brand new car off the lot. Euphoria. You take pictures. You show it to your friends. Your happiness level is a 10 out of 10. Day 100. You're sitting in the same car, stuck in traffic. The new car smell is gone. The infotainment system is now familiar, not magical. Your happiness level is a 6, back to baseline. Day 500. You're scrolling on your phone and see an ad for next year's model with a sleeker design and better features. A pang of desire hits. Your current car now feels slightly dated, slightly inadequate. This predictable cycle is what makes the 36-month lease term so brilliant. It's timed perfectly to coincide with the moment your adaptation is complete and your desire for novelty is reignited. Let's consider a very modern example: the electric vehicle technology trap. You're interested in an EV, but you're worried. Will battery technology double its range in the next 3 years? Will new charging standards make this model obsolete? Will government incentives change? Buying a $50,000 EV feels like a huge gamble. Here, leasing becomes a powerful tool against loss aversion. The salesperson frames it perfectly. With a lease, you get to drive the latest tech without worrying about resale value. In 3 years, if something better comes along, it's not your problem. You just hand us the keys. Leasing is sold as a hedge against the perceived loss of being stuck with yesterday's technology, a very potent pitch in a rapidly evolving market. Another subtle but powerful perceptual trick is known as left-digit bias. Research on millions of used car transactions revealed something fascinating. The perceived value of a car drops dramatically when the odometer's leftmost digit changes. A car with 49,999 miles is seen as significantly more valuable than one with 50,000 miles. Mechanically, they are identical. Psychologically, one is a 40,000-mile car and the other is a 50,000-mile car. This shows how much of a car's value is based on perception, not reality. It relates to leasing because lease mileage limits are often set just below these psychological cliffs, like 12,000 miles per year for a 36,000-mile total, keeping the car in a more desirable valuation bracket for the leasing company's resale. Now let's tackle the biggest misconceptions. First, leasing is always more expensive than buying. This is usually true if your plan is to keep a car for 5, 7, or 10 years. In that case, buying and driving it until the wheels fall off is almost always the cheapest way to own a vehicle. However, if you are the type of person who insists on driving a brand new car every 2 to 3 years, leasing can actually be the more financially sound choice. Why? Because if you buy a new car and trade it in after just 36 months, you are absorbing the absolute steepest part of the depreciation curve yourself. That loss can often be far greater than the total cost of a 3-year lease. Second misconception, you have nothing to show for your money at the end of a lease. This leans on the endowment effect, but it's a flawed argument. While it's true you don't own an asset, you did receive something of value: 3 years of transportation in a new, reliable, warranted vehicle. More importantly, the extra money you didn't spend on a higher loan payment, that $250 a month in our example, didn't just vanish. It could have been invested in the stock market, used to pay down high-interest debt, or spent on other goals. The correct comparison isn't asset versus no asset. It's comparing the total inflation-adjusted cost of transportation and the opportunity cost of your capital. Third misconception, mileage penalties on a lease are a unique and unfair cost. This is a classic framing issue. High mileage devalues a car, period. The only difference is how you pay for it. With a lease, that cost is explicitly contractualized at, say, 20 cents per mile. You know the exact penalty. If you buy the car and drive the same high mileage, you still pay. You pay when you trade it in, and the dealer offers you $2,000 less because of the high miles on the odometer. The cost is real and unavoidable in both scenarios. A lease simply makes it transparent and predictable, while in ownership, it's a less precise but equally painful financial hit at the time of sale. Finally, the most dangerous misconception of all, buying a car is an investment. Unless you are buying a rare, collectible Ferrari, this is fundamentally untrue. A mass-produced vehicle is a rapidly depreciating asset. It is a utility. It is a tool for transportation. But it is not an investment. An investment is something you buy with the reasonable expectation that it will grow in value or produce income. Your car does the opposite. It loses a fifth of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. Framing a car purchase as an investment is a psychological trick you play on yourself, using the logic of the endowment effect to justify a major consumption decision. Acknowledging it's a massive expense, not an investment, is the first step to making a rational choice. So, having navigated the psychological minefield, what is the right choice? It depends entirely on who you are and what you value once you've stripped the biases away. If you drive a predictable number of miles, value having a new car under warranty every few years, and have a better use for your cash than tying it up in a depreciating asset. Leasing can be a logical choice. If you drive a lot, plan to keep your car for many years, and derive genuine psychological value from ownership and customization. Buying is almost certainly your path. The goal isn't to say one is always better, but to ensure your choice is a conscious calculation, not an unconscious reaction. The best financial decision isn't about the car. It's about mastering the predictable biases in your own mind.